Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, Whimsy, here with my compadre, Miss Mila, or as the children in the neighborhood like to call her, Senorita Mila. All right, so we've got a couple remote views, and I just want to say that I've taken the last couple of days to just meditate and not do politics because sometimes it just gets to be too much. All the news seems bad, and we can all afford to take a break occasionally. So I took a break. But last night I did a meditation. I did the 5-step heart-centered remote viewing technique, which you can find if you go to my channel, to the playlist. I go through the 5 steps. But so one of the things I meditated on is, what do the Democrats have to do to win back the White House? What do the Democrats have to do to win back the White House? And here's what I heard. This really feels like the kind of an energy you would get if you were volunteering to help get Barack Obama elected. It's a very sane, rational, put emotionalism aside, no drama Obama. What do we got to do to get Biden in the White House? And so, having said that, and I think that this really goes back to some of what President Obama has said over the last couple of days. We have to win because the Democrats have to win. This is his view, right? Or we're going to have 4 more years of this, and who knows if the planet, the nation can sustain it, or even the rule of law, or whether or not we will even have a constitution when this is over. So the feeling here, if you are a Democrat, full disclosure, I am a Democrat. I try to read objectively, but if I were hired by the DNC, if they had brought me in, these are some of the things that, or if you are volunteering for the DNC, these are some of the things we're going to get hit with if you're a Democrat. These are serious times, and we have a lot to lose. No drama, Obama. If you're, so what do you do if, and then this was the thought, what do you do if Joe Biden picks Kamala Harris as the VP? You vote for Biden. What do you do if Joe Biden picks Elizabeth Warren? You vote for Joe Biden. What do you do if he picks Stacey Abrams? You vote for Joe Biden. What about Amy Klobuchar? You vote for Joe Biden. We cannot afford to nitpick right now because what we run the risk of losing is too great. So we need to get over this obsession of who's going to be the VP, who's going to be the VP, pick anybody. We all have our favorites. We can't all be happy, right? My favorites go back and forth, actually. I meditate on one person and say, oh, but then there's that. So I go back and forth. I mean, whoever he picks doesn't matter. I'm voting for Biden. This is the feeling that they're trying to get through to Democrats. Come together, blue straight down the ticket, blue, blue, blue. If you want this nightmare to end, if you want to save the republic, vote blue no matter who, straight down the ticket. We're going to start to experience some paid harassment. You're going to start seeing some paid harassment trying to rile up a diverse base. This happens a lot. With one of the ways to try and break up the DNC, to pull progressives and moderates apart, or race baiting. This is another thing. If you're poor and you're white and you're not a racist, you're just poor and white and live in an area where a lot of people voted for Trump, and you can be convinced that he's not Santa Claus and he's not going to bring you a job, he'd vote for Biden. So assuming or making racist assumptions or prejudiced assumptions about poor people who are white or poor people who are of color, or just making general assumptions about any group misses the opportunity to, number one, get to know somebody, maybe make a friend, and hear one another's side. Why did you vote for Trump? Well, I assume most human beings are inherently good. I just do. So really try to reach out to a diverse base and do not allow ourselves to be manipulated by race baiting. And it's something that we're going to see over and over and over again. And we have to keep challenging ourselves that they're trying to use the race card, because the race card helps them break apart the Democratic base and prevents us from taking Midwestern states that are, you know, right on the verge. So just be aware that there'll be a lot of race baiting and just ignore it. A lot of fake stories, just vote blue no matter who. Yeah, so try being aware of our own, right? We can only keep our own behavior clean. We can only work on ourselves. So making that intelligent decision that no matter what happens going forward, we're going to stay focused and keep plowing forward, creating a broad coalition and keeping it's just as Mitch McConnell said, it's all about the courts. For us, it's all about winning the Senate, winning the House, winning the White House. That has to be the only focus right now. They also said that we have to stop talking about red states and blue states. This was something else that came up in the remote. Stop calling Georgia a red state or Minnesota a purple state, blue state, whatever. The point is this: if we continue to talk like this, we're going to continue to see a divided country, and that is going to lead to devastation. That's exactly what certain foreign powers want. They want to see a breakup of the states. Just as the Soviet Union was broken apart, so too shall the United States be broken apart. We're going to have people are talking about the Western Seaboard defecting. Goodbye, California, Oregon, Washington, we're leaving. This is crazy talk, but it's going back to this idea that there's an us and there's a them, right? You fill in the blanks. And as long as we do that, or what Steve Bannon calls identity politics, we've got them, right? So when somebody tells you what their strategy is, believe them. So when Steve Bannon says identity politics, as long as they do that, we've got them. So we have to acknowledge a broad base, but watch our own behavior, our own speech regarding. Don't assume that everybody, don't paint everybody with a broad stroke, and just stay focused on the prize, which is winning the election. Also be mindful, put yourself in the shoes of another person who may come from a culture or worldview that's entirely different than your own. Maybe we can all step out of our comfort zones and learn something about one another and create bridges rather than more division, which is extremely destructive to the planet, to Gaia, and it's destructive to our country. And it's not going to help save this planet. We need to be united as a nation, get organized, and save the planet. And talking about red and blue states, talking in terms of division, is only feeding something that should not be fed. Also, the majority of people will probably come around if we do these things, but 15% will not. We may lose 15%, the hardcore Trump supporters, but there's always going to be a 15-20%. There was something else I picked up. I want to say there's going to be some leaks, some stuff coming up about Joe Biden. I think there's going to be a tape It could be a fake tape or a real tape, I don't know, but we could start hearing, then, you know, this fake stuff start to come out, and then tapes of phone calls with Joe Biden, and we're going to start seeing at the introduction of fake stuff, very ramped up. So be mindful of that. I did a little bit of a remote on the Trump family. It looked like every time I do, Donald Trump Jr. always seems very scared and very frantic. It led me to the Mueller report and some of the redacted portions of the Mueller report, areas that had been sealed, and that was conversations that Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner had with the special counsel. So some of that stuff will remain sealed, but some could theoretically be opened. There are many lawyers around Don Jr., so that leads me to think that Mueller was very heavily looking at Don Jr. having potentially committed a series of crimes at that time, either because he was helping to cover for his father, or just various different activities. So it had to do with lying on the plane and getting his story straight with Don Jr., et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, but the point is that there was a lot of fear about Don Jr., and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, to some extent, had cooperation. They have some type of a cooperation agreement. So this brings me to the remote I had recently, and that is this idea that the FBI never stopped its investigation. The FBI under Mueller handed everything off to existing investigations into the FBI, and those investigations were into dark money, particularly dark money in DC. Remember when I had said that when I followed the energy, I saw dark money and it went all the way to the steps of the Capitol? This is 2 years ago. What we saw at that time was that we'd have trouble seeing the Mueller report, and that Christopher Wray, the FBI, would continue to do, and this investigation would be broken up and also buried into existing investigations. And the existing investigation was the money trail inside in Congress and in the White House. So as they were snooping around, they showed evidence of people being bribed and stock picks, etc. That was because they had already been monitored. One of the reasons they had been monitored is because the people that are part of the Gang of Eight have higher security clearance than other members of Congress. And so for that reason, some of them, if they intercept questionable behavior, then they start spying on them. And it looks like what happened was that Christopher Wray and the FBI was continuing the investigation into dark money, and unfortunately they caught a couple of people, and one of them was Senator Burr. There's also an active investigation by the FBI headed by Christopher Wray against William Barr, attorney William Barr, and that's what they're looking at is to determine whether or not he engaged in a criminal act by tampering with evidence, either destroying or hiding evidence, and this is Christopher Wray is actively investigating that. So if Barr tampered with the evidence, buried the evidence, destroyed the evidence, or anything like that, not just in this case but in other cases, the FBI is actually investigating the head of the Department of Justice because of how the law works. They can actually investigate their own, and that is precisely what they're doing. But this will continue on, these investigations. They all go back to dark money. Also expect to see Christopher Wray testify publicly in the future regarding some of the investigations they're doing into dark money and foreign governments tampering with the U.S. election. So the takeaway here is that this investigation did not end with the Mueller report, and that this investigation began in the second term of Barack Obama's presidency. He opened a series of investigations, and in his final year, they had opened up there were several active investigations. It says basically under Obama, this investigation. So basically what it said was that during the last term of Barack Obama's presidency, the intelligence agencies and the FBI had opened up a series of investigations into dark money and tampering in the elections by foreign governments. So those investigations have been ongoing. And that's separate from the Mueller report. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'm having really bad allergies. I am using my own teas. But basically she's shedding a lot, and I think because we're stuck in the house so much, it's a little difficult. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.